the the judges in Chicago and New York are declaring uh, 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 a disparity in the results of tests for the fire department.
Okay.
And I would like to deal with New York right here about particularly with this,
Okay.
because New York, the judge not only
Mm-hmm.
said there was disparate treatment, he said that, let me just put it in the words of what he
You
got.
read it. Go
Let me
ahead.
just say this. He says, it is not a one-time mistake or the product of benign neglect. It was, that's the discrimination against black firefighters. It was a part of a pattern, practice, and policy of intentional discrimination against black applicants that has deep historical antecedents and uniquely disabling effects. Now, that wasn't Al Sharpton saying that, Jesse Jackson, this was a federal judge.
Right.
Now, that is very unusual for a judge to accuse a city, particularly New York City, of deliberately discriminating against blacks. Now, prior to that, he said, you know what, we don't need a trial. He entertained, he approved, supported, upheld summary judgment. They said, in other words, summary judgment means that just on the information, on the papers and the briefs that are submitted, and the evidence that you have, that's enough.
Right.
He said the evidence is overwhelming that the black firefighters have been discriminated against. Then he goes on to say that for every 5 applicants that the city wants to hire, you have to have uh, uh, 2 blacks and 1 Hispanic
Mm-hmm.
to be hired. The city says, no, you're not going to deal with that. Now, here's the thing. There are 2 tragedies, two major issues here. One is the fact that the judge actually declared that the city deliberately did this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this wasn't brought by a Democratic administration. This suit was brought by the Bush administration. The Bush administration collaborated with the Vulcan Society, with the Black Firefighters
Like
group.
Paul Washington.
Paul Washington, yes. And organized this and presented this case to the court. Because this has been going on since firefighting was started 200 years ago. It's now this is a good paying job.
Yeah, it is.
And you got a lot of people outside the city who want to take these jobs, and the blacks have been systematically, as the judge said, denied the chance to take a part in that. Now let me just go one more part here.
Okay.
There's sometimes judges appoint masters or monitors
Okay.
for a case, so that because the case gets complex, and once he makes his ruling, he tries to get the sides together and appoint a master. He said he says the appointment of a special master was necessitated by the city's chronic delays, and he noted that the city had decided to further delay proceedings by attempting to disqualify the very person who was appointed to speed things up, and that's the master. Then he says, this is something. This court is confronted with the odious specter of a city government taking every possible step to perpetuate a fundamental decades-old injustice against its own citizens. Now,
Okay.
this sounds like the South years ago, where the governor or the mayor stands in the door
Right.
to deprive the right for kids to come in for education.
George Wallace.
But the other side of this is, which is stunning, the mayor says, I'm not going to go by, listen to them. We're not going to.
So the mayor of the New York, which is
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg, has decided that he's not going to obey a federal court order.
That's right. he has decided he's not going to abate it, and he's going to stall and delay and what is working for the mayor. This is a stunning thing. This is stunning. This is this is it really it's an amazing thing to see, and it's also stellar where the judge makes a decision like this. But the sad thing, the tragic thing, is that the community doesn't take advantage of this and see how important this is.
Well, do people know about it? But Jones, that's part of the thing again. Do people even know about this decision?
Yeah,
But they should know. If we had infrastructure within our community, I mean, there are other communities, pin drops. Everybody knows about it. They're out there with the on the internet, getting together, gathering, and to confront this. The mayor has this. I don't want to sound like a rapper, but he has this attitude toward the black community, saying "Q you," and we wrote to the mayor, and we titled our letter, "The Mayor's War Against Black Firefighters." He wouldn't answer, so he had the fire department answer us. And they should say all the good things they're doing. They say this every year, or the new recruitment techniques, the new recruitment methods. But in the meantime, the mayor is trying to stall, representing not us, but people outside the city who get the jobs in the fire department.
Okay.
After 5 years, almost $100,000 a year you make.
Right.
This affects, and the judge said it affects, in addition to this, he said it affects the whole community.
Exactly.
But again, like you said, we don't hear about this, and that's partially the media's fault. It is partially the fault of the community of not digging for some of these stories. But even the situation in Chicago, you didn't hear anything about, and that's been
Right.
going on for a long time. I mean, that decision is from 1995
Right.
when they were arguing over the fact that the cutoff point of the tests that was arbitrarily changed by the fire department from qualified to highly qualified, so that 73%.
That was in Chicago.
In Chicago,
Right.
Yeah.
so that 73% of the white applicants could be hired. And the injustice is that even though there are some older black men who are now saying, look, I'm still going for the test because I'm in shape,
Right.
you know, the cutoff point is normally 35 when you're hired.
Right.
And now there's some people who are 46 or, you know, or older, and they now have to start from scratch at that point. You know, and
Right.
you know, this is what Rahm Emanuel gets for becoming mayor, right?
Yeah.
Now he has to deal with that in addition to the budget problems that they're having in Chicago. But again, we don't hear about these stories. And that's a pretty major decision when you think about the fact that something that took that long to be decided came up with this decision and it's not in the media.
Well, and the other thing is, again, when we look at the financial situation, the economic situations occurring in our communities, that we cannot allow these opportunities when the doors are finally open after people have fought long and hard to get this opportunity, that we don't take advantage of it. So, I mean, I remember